smash you or smash Paro. Yeah, but you're like Paro, give you, it sounds good. So the idea of diplomatic shalom afterwards. If you get caught up with the rhetoric and the stuff like that, and you know that he's calling me names, even like, the presidential election. Oh, he's a Hitler, he's a this, he's a that. So the ones that are practical, they know they have to run a government and stuff like that. So we know we have to live together. You won the election, okay, you're Mr. President. It's the ones who feel they don't have to live together, like in other words, Letitia James, these people, they say we're going to oppose anything that they're going to do against us and stuff. We're going to fight it. We're going to do this and that. So it's never going to be shalom. So in other words, the question is, I'm going to bury you, you're going to bury me. That's one of the only two ways it's going to work. What is the Democrats doing? The Democrats, the only one we always found a threat for was only the Democrats. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to do this. They want to do that. They would think they make laws, put them in jail, lawfare, whatever it is. Wipe shot because they're defending themselves. They feel we have to defend ourselves. We have to be able to make a democracy here. So we'll make a race democracy so we can make a democracy, right? Why? Because we're choshed for that guy that don't want to have a democracy. So now we're using that as an excuse. So the idea is that there has to be a way of making shalom afterwards. If there's no way of making shalom afterwards, there's no yichus in having the war unless you're going to kill them all out. That's the only way you can do that. So that's the problem. And so it has to sound, at least afterwards, when people will hear it, I didn't give in, I stood my ground, I did this. So my people feel we did good, but your people feel you did good. Maybe we can mamach and shalom. But if you put me down, they can't make peace that way. Okay. Anyway, so he gets into the thing, so it gets to the point where he reaches that he can't keep himself from crying, from what he called. But he goes out and he's going to cry again. Doesn't say he cried here. Here he said, he cried the first time, he said in the Kates, when they realized that they did wrong. Okay, that's the same stuff. Okay. Anyway, now he's going to talk to them. He's Vizgala himself. He tells them, on the Yosef, right? And then anything there. Okay. Now, obviously, something, I saw, I don't know who says it, but one of my kids, my Eniklach, had a shtickle Torah on the Kates, and it says that Vayigash Yosef Esechov, she says, why is he twice? So I know in one shot that he learns why does he quotes from somebody. I don't remember who he quotes from. It sounds very strange to me. He says, so why? Because he wasn't sure if they were his brothers or not. Something like that. Okay. I just want to say that. So it took him, he had to really look into it. So maybe he was trying to get away with that type of thing, I never recognized them as my brothers, but let's go to taste that cup. Now, how long you can get away with such with stuff like that, anything. Okay, so anyway, so it's interesting. How did he do that? I don't know. I guess Yosef had to have the whatever the Secret Service is sitting outside his door, and what's going on in there? I don't know. I hear all these people crying and screaming and whatever it is over there. So they hear it's Chaim here. What's going on? Okay. Now he tells them what he realized, right? In other words, that Pshat is Vayiskir Yosef is Hachalemis. That's what it said. Vayiskir Yosef is Hachalemis. He understood now finally what the Chalemis meant. That, in other words, the fact that the bundle's bound to his bundle, that has to do with food. I'm going to be taking care of them in Mitzrayim. They should come down, and that's the thing. And this is how he's presenting the case to them now. V'at al tiyatzu elai, al tiyatzu, don't be sad. V'al tiyicha b'einechem ki mechartem ha'isi heiner, you sold me, ki nemichi shlachani kum l'fneichem. God sent you to keep you alive. Ki zeh sh'nesayim l'rav b'kerv ha'oretz, v'yitchomesh shom asher nechoresh v'kotzir, l'kim l'fneichem, l'sum lochem sheirus ba'oretz. It's not for the Mitzrayim, not for anything else, but I should be able to make a place for you in the Haaretz. Now, I guess what he's telling him, this he understood. I hope he understood. I think he understood that these are the 400 years. These are the years that by the Bris Ben Absalom was promised to Avram, Ger Yeyarecha b'zeh be'eretz lo lahem, va'avadim v'hivinu oisam, and he said, this is the start. But I want to give you a head start. The Golos is going to take a big chelik out of you. There's no question about it. But what I want to make sure is somehow that you have a head start, that it don't hit you right away. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, the invoice, it doesn't say to kill him. It's not like Hitler. Not to put us into the gas chambers. But he put us to work. He tortured us. He was cruel. He was other things. He may kill the kids. But it wasn't the point of wiping out Klal Yisrael. So therefore, we're going to be this. So the longer it takes to get down from the position that you're in to become normal, to become less, that's taking away from the 400 years. That's the point. Now it's Vavodum, again, Parin, Yosef didn't have any land. But we'll see at the end of the Sedra that Yosef transforms Pari from being the king of Mitzrayim to being Mitzrayim. There's by the English, I assume by everybody else also, but by the English I know. So let's say the Duke of Norfolk would come and introduce himself. He doesn't introduce himself. My name is whatever my name is. He puts in my name is, I am York, I am Norfolk, I am Suffolk, I'm somebody. I am the country, I am England, the king would say. In other words, I'm not just a person that happens to have his last name. I have no last name. I am England. Before then, Pari was just the Melech Mitzrayim. Everybody was equal. They needed a king. I guess they elected him, and the Pari got to fool the people out of the king, but it doesn't make a difference. It was the Lord Mitzrayim and Pari. I'm not going into that now, but there's a difference between the two. At least there was. If you look in the Seidah Deires, the Paro means a usurper. That's the true touch of the word Paro. So usurper, what kind of name is that for a king, right? So it says there, like by the But the Germans, you also have a different, he used to call the Kaiser, the Kaiser, this guy is called the Tsar. They all mean the king. That's all they mean. Who is Caesar? They come from Latin, and they all mean Caesar. That's basically means the king. So therefore, I am the king. That's the point. But if you're not the king, you technically have a last name, and that's what you should be introducing yourself for. So I think after the French Revolution, when they put him on trial, Louis the 15th, Meinich. So what did they? Capet, I think was the second name. Capet. So they called him that name, Citizen Capet. That's what you are. You're not king anymore. You got a second name. But after Yosef bought the land from everybody and stuff, and they bought their bodies, they were avodim of Pali. They became, he is Mitzrayim. I own Mitzrayim. It's not that I'm the king of Mitzrayim. I own Mitzrayim. It's a different type of king. Okay. Anyway, but he mentioned that the ikir is for them to come down here. Now he realized he's an Eved. What do you mean he's an Eved? By Nebuchadnezzar, right? You have Daniel was an Eved, right? He was an Eved to Nebuchadnezzar. It was a pretty good job as being an Eved. He was ruled the country. He was the prime minister. He probably had avodim. He had guys there, but he's an Eved. My job, a public servant. There used to be. My wife used to, I don't know, the chutzpah of kids at the once upon a time. She used to tell me this joke that either they did it, or they thought of doing it, or they dreamt of doing it. You walk over to a policeman and ask him, are you a public servant? And the guy will say yes. He says, can you please get me a glass of water? And there's something like that, something. Okay, and then he says so. That's another way of serving God. When we talk about, we said this before, that Yosef taught us really how do we exist in Golus. I think we spoke about it. We spoke about that. Anyway, when they came to Yosef, he made 3 meals for him, for them, and the mitzvah, because it's bezoin for the mitzvah to eat with the Jews, because they didn't eat meat, or didn't eat that meat, or whatever it is there. So the kashi is, why'd you do that? Because if you don't want them to fight with you, you're coming to rule over the mitzvah, right? That they don't like. A mitzvah don't like you. A Jew's going to rule over me. He's living in my land and he's ruling over me. Like the Polacks, even the poorest Polak was the Jews. I was taking mine. What are they taking from you? They didn't take a thing. You don't have anything to take to, so what did they take from you? Oh, but the idea is, I'm a Polak and you're Yid. You have those shaykhs to us. If anything, I should get it, not you. Wife used to put it maybe in more, what do you call it? As long as you were the doctors and the lawyers and the Talmidei Chachamim, they couldn't care less. When you started to get the 50-yard line in the football game, that's when you interrupted their work, because you took away my 50-yard line. You're sitting in my 50-yard line. That's the problem. You're not supposed to bother with those things. You can serve me. I don't mind paying a good lawyer. You can be smarter than me, right? But I got the money and I can pay you, so I don't mind paying that Jew, that smart Jew. Of course, I go to the smart Jew. I think that's not a bizarrian. He's smarter than me. I control him, though. So that's the point. So as long as they feel superior to us, that's okay. So you had really, I saw this by the English really, before the First World War, and the Second World War, around those times, between the English were in China. And they owned a big chelik of China, whatever that means. They controlled it. I mean, so they owned it. They called them funny. They called them round eyes. They called them some bizionistic names, right? Barbarians, things of that sort, because they don't know how to act. They're not polite. They don't know how they do the cheretz. They don't know. So good. But meanwhile, they're letting us rule. You feel superior to us, so once you feel inferior to us, then it's a bizayon to you. That's the sach. Okay. So we learned all these things. So also, as long as we're here, you'll have the stores, you'll have the things until these things will develop back again to be like it was. By then, the time will be up. Time to leave. Yeah. Okay. So the venture. Yes, I want you to go to Ya'akov Avinu that you should come down, and I'm going to put you in Eretz Goshen. Whatever pshat is Eretz Goshen, or is it was Soros, it's not Soros, who knows? I can't answer you on those things. Yeah. And meanwhile, he's still thinking, or he doesn't know, that the reason there was a hunger was to bring Yaakov down, B'Sholem, to Mitzrayim. Right? So as soon as Yaakov is going to come into Mitzrayim, the hunger is ending. So this 5 years that's going to be, that you think is going to be, is not going to happen. It's going to happen maybe later on, it says it happened. I don't know what they know it from exactly, except I guess since it was in Nevuah, so I guess the Nevuah has to be Mekuyim, I don't know, whatever it is. So there was a 5 years of hunger, but that was after Yaakov dies, and whatever it is there. But till then, there was only 2 years of hunger. But he's telling, but he doesn't know that, Yosef. He says that Ma'u Karma there, because there's another 5 years, that there's not going to be anything. So you got to come down, I'll take care of you. Okay. And, so therefore they all greeted themselves, they all made shalom, fine, wonderful. Okay. So he says take stuff. So Paro meshes Acharain here. He wanted this, and why is Paro so interested here? The same reason the people of Shechem are interested. I have a country, and I assume Paro, Mitzrayim at that time, I don't know if it was at that time, if you want to go into the thing, because it's 210 years till the Yitzhak. That time already they have the Machashvim, they had all the Chatumim, and they had all the magic and all the things there. Did they have it at this time? I don't know. They definitely had wise men, because we called for the Cholim, he called all the Chatumim. But what they, in the same way that they had there, like no one was able to escape at that time, that was existed now, or the country kept getting stronger and stronger. That time, at this time, it wasn't that way yet. Okay. But anyway, and tell them, so Paro wanted that there should be assimilation. The keiches of Yosef, he recognizes who Yosef was of his paner. He figured his brothers have some shaykhs to that same thing, the genetics should be the same, and therefore, because of that, I would like that keach integrated into Mitzrayim. So his job was, as Melech Mitzrayim, to put them into Mitzrayim. And Yosef's job was to keep them away from Mitzrayim. So Yosef keeps putting him in Eretz Goshen, and that's where he's keeping it. And I'll take care of you, you'll be over there. Okay. What did Paro tell Yosef? Tell him to come down and to take it fairly. Don't worry about it, because Tuv Eretz Mitzrayim is a fanech. No, it's Mitzrayim. I want you in Mitzrayim. Okay, Vayigash came into Israel. He gives them the Agolis. So I don't know, because it says Vayaros Agolis Ruach Ya'akov Aviyam. So because the last thing was learning was Egla Rufa, and the Agolis, even one means a wagon, and one is an egel, a calf. But I'll be the same word. Don't ask me how these things go. If you go in that type of world, maybe I see. Oh, he remembered Egla Rufa that we're learning. Okay, good, fine. But it says Pari told him to the Agoli. Right. So what do you mean? The Yosef never sent him. Right. So no. I don't think Yaakov made that mistake, and he understood it, and that's what Takit says. So it must mean that, right? Vayas hagolos hasheshelach Yosef. This they say betchiyu. So obviously it means it as it says it. So what's pshat Takit? So I think what it means is a lot of times if you're with somebody, you can keep talking about something in a certain way that you're convincing the person to do something, to him to think it's his idea, but really it's coming from you. And so Dafki was speaking about Agolis and the thing, but I haven't got the authority to actually order it. But when Power is going to order it, he's going to know exactly what I need. 15 agolis, 20 donkeys, whatever it is, because he knows how many people are coming down and stuff like that. Okay, Yosef agolis al bipari, right? Okay. Now you'll ask me, they make cheshbonis what the money was, and all this thing is the money that Beniman had to work extra because they didn't have another guy to split the work. Like there was, if there would have been 12 brothers, you work only once in 12 days. If there's 11 brothers, you work once in 11 days. So according to how much a day's work plus how many days he had to work extra, then he would have worked the other way. So that's the $300 for. Right? I don't know. This Hasidic stuff. I can't answer anything there, but it. But this is what he sends him. So he had 10 donkeys from the best whatever they have in Mitzrayim. Means only food? I don't know. Maybe means everything. We have 10 and 10 female donkeys. He's going to eat 10 donkeys worth of food. How many donkeys did they take for the whole family food? It doesn't say they had 1 million donkeys. Each guy had 1 donkey. 2 donkeys maybe, right? You don't have this. So how many? 10 donkeys? 20 donkeys for 1 guy? It don't make no sense, right? Elavos, I guess. He wants to show him, I'm treating you right. So they give you a choice. Yes, you have anything you want on the donkey, whatever you want. But the Itaki doesn't need. He's not going to eat 10 donkeys worth of food. Okay. Yeah. So, he says it's time to go. So again, all of a sudden, Vayichi Ruach Ya'akov Aviyam. What happens right afterwards? Vayeme Yisrael. Now I'm back into shape. I got my Shem of the strong name back. So I'm Yisrael now. I'm not Yaakov anymore. Yaakov was the weak name. Right? Okay. So I'm going down to Mitzrayim and to see before I die. Vayisha Yisrael, right? V'chol Asheloi, and V'yovei Shova V'yisrochem, right? Everything. Vayomer Lekim LiYisrael V'mar Salai. When the Benshim came to talk to him, he was still Yisrael. Tough stuff. Vayomer, and he said, Yaakov, Yaakov. Now all of a sudden, but now he knows he's in trouble. Why did God call me Yaakov instead of Yisrael? Right? Because he wants me to realize I'm in a very bad position. Okay. What did he tell him? Don't be afraid to go to Mitzrayim. The Mashgiach used to always say, when anyone tells me don't be afraid, I know you got to be afraid. Because otherwise, why you tell me don't be afraid? Okay? So he told me, you got to go to Hashem. And then he's telling him, so far he hasn't told me that he ain't coming back. I'll take you up, right? So maybe it sounds, maybe when I'm alive, Yosef, he's going to close your eyes. You're going to be dead when they bring you up here. So now as you're going down, but this is it. You're not coming back anymore. This is the Gullus. Okay. Yaakov in Beersheva. Yaakov got it from Beersheva, not Yisrael, because he just knocked all the thing out of me, right? Vayisu b'nei Yisrael Yaakov aviyim. The children of Yisrael carried Yaakov the father because they didn't know that what the nevuah was, that there was a nevuah. So as far as they know, they're going down. But the thing is, so they're b'nei Yisrael of Yaakov. They were carrying Yaakov aviyim. He knew, so they only carried Yaakov. Shem ba'gol sheshal paradlosses. Okay. And they took everything they had, and they went down to Mitzrayim. Okay. Now, in here, we're going to have a discrepancy of math, of counting, whatever you want to call it, and in two places. Rashi is in the first place. What's the first place? Talking about the children of Leah were 33. Right? When was the last time you counted the names? You probably never did. You took the Torah's word for it. It tells you 30, but there's only 32 names. So, you're missing the boat. If you wouldn't count them, you wouldn't notice. Right? So why is Rashi telling me there? Where would he should have told me? He should have told me a little further. And it says over here, counting the people, כל הנפש הבא מיעקב ממצרים מיציריכם ובד נשי בני יעקב כל נפש 66, right? ובני יוסף אשר יולד לו במצרים נפש 68, and Yaakov himself, and Yosef himself was 69. כל הבא נפש לבית יעקב בו מצרים 70. You can't count. Here there wasn't even another way to make an error. It tells you straight at 69. How you tell me there's 70? The other one, I have to count it. I don't count it, I'll take your word for it, so I'll be fooled. Over here, so you should have put it over here, that this is the error that you in it. So, I think that maybe it's a way of teaching us how to teach, learning. We have two methods of doing this. We can make something a shvere kashe, in other words, over here, but by understanding the teretz, I'm forcing the kasha on you, but you understand the teretz, now you can answer this gemara over here, this pasuk here too. Because you know that Yocheved, it means it's going to be born later. She's going to be the 70th person. So I left out one guy on purpose. And the reason, and where did I leave him out? In Bnei Leah. So you'll know that the person that's missing in Bnei Leah, over here, when they're counting the 70, if I leave it out over there, you won't know where he's missing. You know one is missing somewhere, but which what is missing by? right? About this day, clothes missing by Leah, because there's only 32 names. So you know it's an English. So that's the klotkeit that he's getting in the way he's giving the answer. That's why he's bothering over there than over here. Then he sent Yehuda. Now, I remember this speech before we started the yeshiva. Tells built I don't remember it was the first time and the second time. That's something. I mean, the first one was before we started the yeshiva. They built the dormitory in Wycliffe. The second time they built the Bismedish, and the yeshiva went both times, and I went with them both times. The Yankees went both times, and I think that was simply a point of chizuk, one to another. Now you make Evan Apino and stuff like that. Who shows up? People in town, maybe, right? They don't invite everybody to come anymore. I haven't been invited to go to a thing there for quite a long time. But there was shul once upon a time that I used to go to and stuff. They built a new shul, built a new thing. When we bought the place here, they came and they called, they had a big thing, and a lot of the yeshivas. Why? Because you want to show your building. Now it's called, the Torah is moving, it's going greater and greater. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to make it maybe go into the end of the Seder also at this point, because then that next piece will go into the thing there. But this piece over here, it says, "Ves Yehudi sholach lefonav." So Motel, he was the Rosh Yeshiva at that time. Balimei was not here anymore, so Motel was the Rosh Yeshiva. So he made the speech. I said, I don't remember which Chanukah Sabayis it was, but he said, they should have sent Levi. Levi's the Rosh Yeshiva, building a yeshiva, right? L'hoir is lefonav. He wanted to build a place to learn. If that's the case, he sold the Rosh Yeshiva. Why are you sending the Melech for? Like Yehuda's the Melech. So he went, so the point of his coming thing is Amol, the Torah needs Malchus. So you got to start with Malchus. Okay, fine. There's something there. I think I mentioned it a little bit today by the husband, that's there's an Indian of this is Stoltz, that sometimes you got to think of yourself that there's a pride my being a Ben Torah. I have to act a certain way. It's not the pshat. I'm about giving. That's why I act a certain way. That's chas v'chilui. That's no mile at all. But my says, I'm stolz. I'm proud of being a Ben Torah. Now I represent Torah. If you represent Torah, you have to act like a Ben Torah. So you have to dress like a Ben Torah. You have to live there. So I remember my wife used to do this a lot, and even in dressing. And she made this point. I remember, it's very easy to dress well if you spend a lot of money. Right? There's no big deal. But one of the things that impressed when she in the public school system, that impressed the teachers was how well dressed she always was. But she would always say it by Yiddish thing, $25 at Macy's. I didn't go to the Yiddish store for $200. I got it at Macy's for $25. That's the point you're going to understand. But if you wanted one dressed well at Macy's, you got to spend some time there and look around to find the bargains for $25. I walk into the fancies for $200. You can do. Everybody can do that. It's no yichus. But everybody needs a pride. She used to mend the bachim to tuck their shirts in and stuff like that. It's your Ben Torah. Ben Torah doesn't walk around like that. There's nothing to do with it. Okay, so basically the union of pride. I'm a Ben Torah, so I represent him. This is the way I dress. This is the way I think. Okay. So there's a point to that. At the end of the Seder, we're just skipping ahead, so we don't get to the middle yet. There's still more stuff in the middle. He goes, it says over there, the last pasuk in the Sedra is Vayeshiv Yisrael be'eretz Mitzrayim be'eretz Goshen, right? Vayochzu bo, vayifru vayibu moed, and it's called this Parshas Stume. It's in the middle of the parsha. It's not a pay. It's not a pay here or samach here. It's in the middle of the parsha, and it's called the Parshas Stume. And why? Because Rashi says they named Yisrael were closed because of the Golus. The Golus is starting with the death of Ya'akov. Right, this is the Loshen in God in Vayichi, the Loshen. Parshas Stume, Shekim Shenifta Ya'akov Avinu Nistam name Yisrael from the Golus. How does the Sedra start? Vayichi Ya'akov, he says he's alive. Right? So how do you tell me he's dead? Right? Sometimes what pshat is a different way of understanding it. I've lived through it, that's why I think I can say about it. And I tried to bring it out this morning by the thing. I don't know if it was successful or not. All the Yidden, when on the east side, they all lived together. Right, the Rosh Yeshiva, other big Rabbanim, right, and the guys there, and the regular people, right, Stam Balabatim, and the kids. And how did the kids argue? Like little chayas, like kids, right? But they're acting like kids in front of Rosh Yeshiva, in front of the things. So you lost the called the inspiration, or the difference of what the Rosh Yeshiva is. Let's say Yeshiva. Guys are standing in the back of the way, Smedish, talking. Yantifik, that's it, right? Not in Torah. Right? Not in Torah, I don't think anybody would jump. And the Mashgiach walks by. Right? All of a sudden everybody's going to keep quiet or something. Why? Because they're embarrassed. Right? So embarrassed is because I'm in the yeshiva and I shouldn't be talking like this. I should be talking and learning. I wasn't talking and learning, so I feel embarrassed. Right? But what happened if I got used to talking like this? Why? Because this is where we live. This is what it is in there. So if that's the case, so you're not margish it. So now how are you going to make it now to put in that now we're different now? We're yeshiva now. It's not the neighborhood anymore. It's a yeshiva. You're living in a yeshiva. You have a different way of living and stuff like that. I have an enikel. He's married now, so he's not here. But he used to tell me when he used to go home once a month, he said he had to have always a what do you call it, social, he had to readjust himself socially. He says as long as he was in the yeshiva, he never walked out of the thing. You knew there was a highway because he was on the third floor and fourth floor. You can see the highway. But besides that, when you come downstairs, you cut off from the rest of the world. There's no such thing as the rest of the world. So as long as he's here, so a culture shock he used to have. When he used to get home where he lived, and he looked at the people there, like, you don't look B'nai Torah, you don't look like, you're at the right place. And this happened every month to him. Like, when he calls Mom, I'm here, I don't feel the outside world. All of a sudden I come into the outside world, it's a different world. Okay. So there, you need Torah. The guy we were talking about, they're doing for the Hebrew stuff, also in Vayetze. So the question of Yaakov was the union of that you have to use the Gashmis to Mekadesh to the Ruchnis. So he asked me, Kashu, what did Avram and Yitzchak do? Avram did everything he was supposed to do, what everybody else did. So, like l'chayre, if he was doing it, why didn't Yaakov learn from him? Why did he have to learn it? That he said, that what did Yaakov do? He went to when he went he doesn't go to sleep. And I sleep Dalton. And as long as he's a balabas, now I'm working for a living, now I can go to sleep. So I said, obviously, Avram Yitzchak were balabatim. They did a lot of chesed, did a lot of this thing, but they weren't Rosh Yeshivas. So if that was the case, he didn't see this Messiah. Now they went 14 years of Shiva Shem Ve'eva, so all of a sudden he put him out. So the Rebbe Shem has to teach him that, you don't act differently in yeshiva than out of yeshiva. It's one thing, and you're not out of yeshiva, I'm mutter to do gashmis now. I remember a bacher once like that, he got married, so he went out to Yisrael, came back, and remember he took a job, and it was $10,000. He said, I'm not taking less than $10,000. So what do you need $10,000 for? Obviously at that time he still didn't need $10,000. So he says, I want to have rugs on the floor. Now they put rugs on the floors that have, what do you call it? The type of wood?
Hardwood?
Plywood.
Hardwood?
Plywood. Put down plywood so it doesn't look nice, you put a carpet over it, right? But when you have in the houses, we used to live in the east side, the old-time tenements, they had the long strips of parquet floors. Parquet floors, who's going to cover it up with a carpet? I mean, you should get that from saying. But okay, but that was, he thought that carpet was rich. That was the way you think this. So he wanted a carpet to my floor. I said, why do you need this? So he says, I was in yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. I had Shabbos, it was the only time in the week I had chicken. I didn't have meat. It was 3 years, I remember. He was there for that time. He didn't have thing there. And Shabbos was only chicken. And he says there, now I'm a balabas. I'm going out to work. I'm going to have carpets on my floor. I'm going to have all of a sudden my needs became different needs. That's not the way it works. If you need carpets, you need carpets. You don't need carpets, you don't need carpets. I mean, Dominican cup, Anyway, so that was the point. So anyway, so that is the part that you need Malchus for. Now, when you're coming into Mitzrayim, set off, not only Mitzrayim, maybe, even you're in Golus, if you learn how to live as a balabas in front of the Gedolim. That you're not, that they don't inspire you anymore to be like you in yeshiva. They said the Gadol just walked by. You have to be respectful and stuff like that. If you don't have that, then you're in Golus. And that's what the Golus was. Because he was alive was the Golus, not because he was dead. And the thing of it. Okay, that was my Torah. Okay, now to go back to where we're up to. Okay, then it says...
The Rebbe saying it as a taina on Klal Yisrael?
Huh? I'm sorry?
The Rebbe saying it as a taina on Klal Yisrael? Or
a what of Klal Yisrael?
A taina on Klal Yisrael?
No.
Or a taina on...
No, that's the Metzias of what happened. It's not a taina. But when you get used to, let's say, in the house, on one hand you'll ask me a kasha. It says there, why aren't B'nai Talmidei Chacham and Talmidei Chachamim, right? The Gemara says they're not, right? Because you shouldn't think it's Yerushalayim, whatever that means, right? So whatever the thing is, it affects. Why does it affect? It affects there because another guy living in the house, he would be jumping, standing in the corners like this the whole time. But I live here. If I live here, if I did that the whole time, I'd be a smensch. Right? So all of a sudden, you act like a normal person in front of your father, right? Who's the Gadol Hadar, right? So if that's what you're acting like, so then you don't have the Hagosha that he's the Gadol Hadar, right? Which is true. Okay? And so it's just another thing. So it's not a taina, it's a metzias. And I think that now obviously, what should have been is that the God lives among us, that the kids should have felt, God's coming down the street, and says that. Shabbos, you used to see it. That was year something that maybe if they saw, because when we came out of Shul Shabbos, it was about 11:10. The davening was 9 o'clock. It was 10 to 11 usually we finish minutes. About 10 to 11. So it was 1 hour 50. And a group would walk to the shiva back. And as we pass all the shul on East Broadway, the Rabbanim will be waiting there with their kehillah to wish good Shabbos. Okay, so you saw something that is different. Did I see this when I was 6 years old? I doubt it. I understand. Maybe the world didn't understand it then either, so I can't answer you the question, you know. But I definitely didn't see it then, right? So it took me to go to Telus to understand who maybe the Rosh Yeshiva was. I understand like that because, hey, he's my father. What do you want to look like? I don't know. Like this, everybody asks me this question. So tell me a story of your father. I said, tell me. So I answered them and learned to be a wise guy. Tell me a story of your father. So the guy laughs. So I said, what are you laughing about? Right? I said, I said the same thing. He's the only father I have. I have no idea what another father is. You want to hear stories? That's a different story. Tell me something that impresses you. And something that impresses you, maybe I can then tell you a story that's more impressive because I saw about all shit. Okay? So that's he had the thing like that many times. That I can do. But just give you from nowhere, tell you a story. What do I see? I didn't see anything spoiled there. That was normal. That was life. That was normal. So that's what I'm saying. So, okay. Anyway, Yosef, what he called, this is one thing when he became a shtickle God-like, because Ya'akov blessed, gave him a bracha, Parshas, that whenever he would come down to the Nile and he would need the water to irrigate, I mean, instead of building canals, it would overflow the thing and it would fall into the fields. So he was able to bring the blessing to Mitzrayim, because in Mitzrayim it doesn't rain. So all it has is the Nile, because it's from the Nile. Okay. Now let's see the psukim here. He told it again the same thing that Yosef did before. He tells them, tell them the royed tzoyin. Why? Ki toyavas Mitzrayim kol royed tzoyin. Now, they don't want to associate with royed tzoyin. That was not a good job for them. Okay, so therefore, do you want to stay away? You want to be left alone? Tell me everything. Okay, and there's a pasuk that doesn't even translate. I have no way of translating it. Really, I have the way I'm typing it up, but I don't know anyway. Pasuk Vav. Anyone has it? It says, Eretz Mitzrayim lefanecha hu b'meitav haaretz hoishi v'savicha v'sachecha esnachta. Right? When the plain of Mitzrayim is in front of you, in the best of the land, put them there. Then yeshvu be'eretz Goshen. Sit in Eretz Goshen. Who should sit in Eretz Goshen? It's in the snachta. If it would start avicha v'achecha yeshvu be'eretz Goshen, I understand. But it doesn't say that. Right? So what he's telling him, they got to sit in Eretz Mitzrayim. Meanwhile, don't shepherd them. They asked in Mitzrayim, don't shepherd them. Meanwhile, leave them in Mitzrayim. But that's Yeshvu, they're there. But the Hoishav, I want you to put them in Eretz Mitzrayim. So now, after Shvi, Vayeshev Yosef v'Echov vayitem ha'machuza be'eretz Mitzrayim b'meitav ha'oretz be'eretz Ramses kasher tziva Paroi. That's not Goshen. That's the thing. We gave him. Why? Because Paroi wants them integrated. So what really happened because of this is they had two houses. They lived in Goshen, but they also were in business. We'll see in a minute that there was no businesses in Mitzrayim. They owned the whole Mitzrayim. So let's see what happened. Okay. So those are the only two psukim which are negated to Bnei Yisrael, and they chalkel about Yosef himself. You see, fine. V'lechem ein b'chol haaretz. Now it starts what happened to Mitzrayim. There's no food there. So first he asked them for. What he called, so he says, V'lechem Mitzrayim v'eretz Canaan l'pnei Rav, right? Vayilakit Yosef es kol hakesef hanimtza eretz Mitzrayim ve'eretz Canaan. He collected all the money that existed in there. Now, again, did they realize what was happening? Everybody knew there's going to be 7 years of hunger, right? This was only up to the first year. We're not up to the 7th year yet. But everybody knew that. So how did they think they're going to live? How are they going to get food? Paro is buying from them Yosef is buying from them all the land, all the food cheap, because you can't charge for things. There's so much of it. It has no value, right? So you're charging, but when there's no food, all of a sudden the price goes up. But since maybe Paro owns it, or Yosef is in charge of it, so maybe he kept a even price. But even the even price is going to, after Torah, it's going to take away all your money, which is what it did in the first year. So it took away the money from Eretz Mitzrayim and Eretz Canaan. So that's how you have Korach having all this money and everything when he went out of Mitzrayim and all of that. Okay. ויבוא יוסף הכסף ויספר יסיבול וייתם הכסף מארץ מצרים מארץ כנען. ויבוא כל מצרים, then Mitzrayim came and said, we got no more money. You got to feed us, right? What are we going to die? Let's sell us for your animals. What about Canaan? It says the money ended in Canaan, just as it ended in Mitzrayim. What did he do with Canaan? Did he buy their animals too? Doesn't say that. So what happened? The hunger stopped in Canaan? Maybe. I have no idea. But all of a sudden there's a lot missing here. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't know what's happening.
Just like America gives.
I'm sorry?
Just like America gives money to China.
Yeah.
There's a debt ceiling.
Yeah, but the debt ceiling. But if we're hungry, they're going to raise the debt ceiling. The government was almost closed, so what do? They added another $1 trillion to the debt ceiling. Okay. So they came, so he told them, okay, be for the sheep, for all your animals. So it's interesting, it doesn't say Gemalim. I don't know if somehow Egypt didn't have Gemalim, even though we find that when Paro pays off Avram for when he goes up, I think, with Gemalim too. Let's see a second to make sure. No horses. Why? Because the Mitzrayim don't give away horses. Horses was their secret weapon, and it's owned exclusively by Mitzrayim. Abel, the individual Mitzri, had horses. So therefore, Vatitam Asher Nasi, they brought the Reuben, Vayitem lehem Yosef lechem basusim, b'mikneh hatzayin, mikneh aboker b'chamoirim, doesn't say Gemalim. That's what we're saying. So what happened to the Gemalim? I have no idea. And then that year's end, and we're up to the second year of hunger. The second year of hunger, and they say, I don't know what's happening in Canaan. Again, so they'll say, since I guess you don't make a revolution, because she didn't say, or I don't even know if it was true that Anna Maria, what's her name? Marie Antoinette, well, they said, let them eat cake. Well, they have no bread, let them eat cake. And supposedly she did say it or she didn't say it, that's irrelevant. But it was a good line for who Dickens or whoever wrote the book. Okay, so the shaila is, what do you mean by that? Right? So over here, obviously there wasn't any revolution. If you say that, there could have been a revolution. All the Mitzrayim would have picked themselves up and would just break down the barrier houses and this thing. You have a few soldiers, but hey, we're starving here. So and this is probably the the French Revolution would have been a lot, what do you call it? If they can do it, they can do it. Okay.
But they knew it's not going to work.
Huh?
They knew it's not going to work because they had the tour and it was Nirkaf. They knew it's not going to work because they saved the tour and it got rotten. It got rotten. So they knew that they're going to break it from Yosef. It's going to get rotten also.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, could be. I don't know if you think that clearly when you're starving, but maybe you're right. I don't know. Okay. Okay. So he made a deal with them. He bought them and he bought Tari. And really, instead of taking them as actual avodim, like well, you want this, or you're in the army, he made it into a tax, a 20% tax, which is not bad for income tax, so everybody would have been happy. In that time, I don't know if they were very happy, but he also moved them, for one thing, I don't want you to remember your house as yours, because that way there's revolution. So the idea is and that's why you have the same thing that Nebuchadnezzar did and Sancherib did, and that is that they moved, when they captured a country, they took out the population and they put in a different population, because then you don't fight for what you believe in. Otherwise you'll be like the Irish did, Ireland's for the Irish and stuff like that, and they're going to keep fighting for it. That's what he didn't do. Okay, and this is what I said before. He made Paro into Mitzrayim, and the only ones that he didn't take was the Kohanim, which the Leviim had a din of Kohanim by us, so the Leviim also didn't do. So they were never avodim, the Leviim. That's the whole thing. We'll get when we get to Moshe Rabbeinu to understand that. Okay, and that's basically what he did. And but meanwhile, if they're all avodim to Mitzrayim, there is no middle class. There's no people running the grocery store, the bank, the this. That's where the Jews came in. They were cleaning up the place all over the place. They were making money. They weren't avodim. They weren't the thing. They were businessmen. So therefore, they became completely different because of that, and that's where the problems became. Okay. Good Shabbos, everybody. It's after Hanukkah. After Hanukkah. Okay, good Shabbos.
Shabbos. Good Shabbos.